So we have a guy that's strictly in the MISO, and he's dealing with all the congestion, the losses, and the ATR allocations on that. So we have a staff of 52, and everybody has their little bit of hand in everything. You guys would have a voice in what services you'd like to see as part of the organization. Right now, a lot of our members are saying, we got a lot of net metering customers out there now that want to put up a small wind farm or do this and that. So we're now developing a net metering service, and all we're doing it is at cost. So I don't know, did I hit my 15 minutes? I was going really quick, probably faster than I wanted to go. I know that's a lot of information. I know that's a lot to throw at you. Essentially, I'm here to answer any questions, and there is no dumb question. Anything you have as far as what we do as an organization, how we run a cost of service study, how an electric utility is operated, any of those things we're available. And I mean, we get emails and calls all day just from people just asking us questions about, how, daily things that they're having troubles with, whether it be on the customer side or on the distribution side. So that's one of the main benefits is you now aren't just one utility, you're part of a big organization that has a lot of utilities that are going through the exact same thing. So I guess I was really going fast. I'd like to talk to you guys for a lot longer, but I want to keep it high level. I just wanted to meet you guys and let you know what we do. If you guys wanted to see a sample study, you're more than willing to. Here's a list of a lot of services we offer. And like I said, if there's any questions you have now, I'd be happy to take them. Otherwise, you're passing through Scott. I'd be happy to.
I just got one.
Sure.
You've done a bunch of these studies.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them messed up?
Well, it depends on who you ask.
The
ones that had the low rate increases, we did perfect, according to the vote.
Yeah.
The ones that had a little higher increases, not. No,
what
typically,
I'm asking is what's your success rate for? You come in and you tell us this is how much you need to raise things, this is where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
We do that and we go broke in a year.
Well,
Does that happen?
we have not had one utility go broke. And what happens is what has driven me to math. My whole life's based on math. I got my degrees in math, physics, and civil engineering. But what drives me is they're pretty concrete. And so the study is a collaborative effort. So, if you tell me you're going to spend $300,000 on a substation overhaul or $150,000 on meters, and you spend $500,000, well, then my study is not really.
I understand.
But as far as the study itself, since it is an ongoing thing, the utilities that have success are the ones that just roll it every 4 years. So every 2 years we're back. And in most studies they'll put in a quote and say, we'll do 2 years, and then see you later, call us if you want it again. Here is we're constantly involved. I'll give you an example. NPPD, Nebraska Public Power District, was expected to increase their transmission costs 15%. Well, they raised them 30% January 1st. Well, for some utilities, the transmission, they weren't very heavily transmission dependent. It was a couple $1,000s. Some, it was a big deal. So what we did is we knew we had to go. We went back and looked at all our studies and said, hey, everybody was expecting 15. Even NPPD said 15, but it was 30. So we look at their cash reserves again and say, okay, you guys are going to be fine until we do our next study. You guys can absorb this. Or we go back and say, okay, we need to bump you 0.5% and redesign that. But in a lot of cases, a utility, to speak generally, should never go broke because we would recommend having an ordinance where if a significant event happens, you have what's called, and I've heard it a million times, FCA, PCA, ECA, whatever it is, cost adjustment charge. Another example, Nebraska Public Power District. There was a winter ice storm, 2006, devastated. Took out half the transmission lines in the entire state of Nebraska. So what happened is, well, NPPD can't absorb that. They will go broke. But what they do is they enacted a PCA charge, which was 1/10 of a cent or 1 mil, for all their customers for 1 year. And customers are much more willing to understand a PCA or an adjustment on their bill, an increase on their bill, if it's A, has a sunset, meaning it's going to be done in exactly 12 months, B, it's a fixed amount, and C, it's because of a significant event. And so if they have, well, you know, everybody in Nebraska was like, oh yeah, well, yeah, there's half our transmission lines down. Somebody's got to pay for it. I'm an electric customer, so I'm going to pay 1/10 of a cent per kilowatt hour on my bill, which doesn't amount to much, but it's spread out over a large amount. So technically, a utility should have that at their disposal to never actually go broke, because they can always enact that emergency
I probably shouldn't have said broke either.
cost adjustment. But no, as far, we've had utilities that are in big trouble, that if they would not have called us, might have been in real trouble. We've had some utilities in black when they called us, some borrowing money for operations, some that have just gone the last 10, 15 years and not raised rates. And there's a lot of that's happened in the industries.
When you talk about you plugging in numbers, how much time and effort will that take from, say, like from Bill or from Scott? Is this something you research on your own, or is this something that we need to have somebody in the city that's going to spend quite a little time helping you guys?
That's a good question. The model is in place, so there's nothing that you guys need to do on the cost of service study. The only thing that we need from you is information that should be fairly easy to attain, like power bills, wholesale power bills from WAPA and Mid-American for the last couple of years, the financial audit that you guys had for the last couple of years, and maybe a trial balance of expenses and revenues, and maybe a budget. Are any of those things hard to gather up too much? In most cases,
we don't
not.
get audited regularly, but other than
Right.
that,
So you have like a 3-year or a 5-year audit, 4-year. So, you know, we'd want your last 4-year audit and things like that. But typically, no, what we need is just good information like, are you planning on significant capital improvements? What would you like to budget capital improvements for the next certain years? What's your growth like? You know, we can look historically and say, are you guys planning some big residential, you know, improvements, or are you having a big customer come online? Those are things we need to know. So no grunt work other than just getting, you know, collecting data and stuff like that. Nothing, you're not going to be staying up late with a pen and paper or anything like that.
I wouldn't be staying up there. I know
all the number crunching would be done on our end. The model's already in place. We've done a lot of utilities in Iowa, so we have a MISO model already in place for that kind of thing. So.
Are these studies one size fit all, or?
Absolutely not,
Yeah.
or else my job would be a lot easier.
Well, you just
No,
mentioned
what
that.
we do, NMPP Energy amasses 6 states from the west region and the east, 2 different regions. We have now we're switching, we have 3 different RTO networks. We have all different types of transmission. We got WAP allocations from 3 different sources. We have power suppliers from probably 10 different sources. So the answer is no. But what we do have is we have similar towns. For example, I don't know many towns that would be fortunate enough to have 75% WAP allocation. But we do have, obviously, towns that would have upper Great Plains allocations, and, well, I figured it's on the RFQ, so. But anyway, the bottom line is there are similar towns that have, so it takes some tweaking, but nothing that's you know, too significant.
You mentioned net metering.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any interconnection agreements in Iowa?
Yeah, we're starting that right now. Actually, Madison, Nebraska, Fairbury, Nebraska, and there's one more that slips in my mind. I think it's even Breda. There's
I know
some.
Breeders looking at a wind.
Yeah, I think
Are
there's.
the laws different in Iowa and in Nebraska?
Yeah, a little bit, but we have a legal counsel of 3 members and an outside hired that stay on top of that for us, and that's part of the reason that we're able to offer low service, because we just do cost of service studies, and then there's people that we can call on within internal staff for those type of things. But net metering is a service that we're actually developing right now,
We've got a customer.
Yeah.
going in.
and we'd be happy to do that for you. I mean, that's another part that would. Those are the kind of things, once you get in the organization, you're like, oh wow, they got software support, or oh they got this, you know, and that kind of thing. So it's all a cart. It's what you want. You can say I want this service, but not that service. I can just pick and choose.